And so as the three of us were gathering and we were talking about this session, we read an article to kind of get us started. And the article is called The Top 10 Strategic Talent Acquisition and HR Metrics That CEOs Want to See. And here's kind of, what it looks like, you guys. And I think, and we put a link in the chat box for everyone to access that article if you want to. And just a little bit about the article. Dr. Sullivan outlines kind of the current state of HR analytics for us, and then he gives us some recommendations, some analytics that we might consider, and then he sort of wraps it up with, hey, here's some advice for you moving forward that you might want to consider as you think about kind of building out your analytics prowess and how that might be. So let's just talk about the article a little bit. Jeannie, as we were talking about it, what were some of the things that kind of landed on you that you'd like to share?
Sure. Well, God bless Dr. Sullivan. He's always edgy. He's always telling HR to be better. And so he's taken a slice of analytics. He's taken analytics related to recruitment and retention, and he's an expert. And his whole thing is you need to get the attention of senior managers, of CEOs. They need to look at the data and say, aha, I see how it fits with the bottom line. And let's take action on the analytics. And Dr. Sullivan is a little bit chagrined because he's found out that there's only 32% of CEOs that pay attention to HR analytics. So in that stream, there's work to be done. And I think he's created some very good models. But what's really exciting and why I'm here today is that there's a territory that's virtually untouched. I live in the high desert, so this is kind of like a desert when it comes to leadership analytics that would catch the attention of CEOs because they had rich modeling. You use the information to come up with metrics that would tell the CEO how the organization is doing in increasing leadership capability and building and sustaining the business. So we're going to have the opportunity for both Harold and I to talk about what that means to us and how we've either used Rejuvi or how we would have used it if we had had it at critical times.
Wow. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. And Harold, I know when we were chatting, you had some comments about the article as well. How did it land on you?
Well, I was pretty shocked.
Yeah.
I thought to myself, wow, if I could only depend on my CFO to have 20 or 30% of the information that was provided to be useful for running the company, that would really get my attention. And then I thought, the CEO, some of this is on us. We've got to ask HR what it is that they can provide us that actually provides for better business outcomes. I'm not interested in how many times a week I talk to any particular discipline. It's what I get from them in order to run the company that matters. And I will say this is that when you're a CEO, and this, I can only tell you this in a very short amount of time, you have to deal with wildly different situations that have very high impact in microseconds. You better have the knowledge of what your teams are capable of doing right at the forefront of your mind. If you're only looking at 10 to 20% of the input as useful, it's not going to work.
Harold, I so appreciate both of your insights. And when I read the article, I got a little mad, actually. In paragraph 3, it didn't take me very long, right? Because he says, hey, look, there's this small percentage of CEOs that even feel like the metrics we're currently bringing are of value, like 12%, right? That's if I kind of bring vid into the conversation, he's good at flipping that and going, that's 88% that don't think what you're doing is really impactful. I think, Harold, to your point about helping me make those decisions, and it's because we don't tie our metrics to the business outcomes that are important to the CEO. And what you both helped me to understand is I appreciate the metrics that Dr. Sullivan lays out for us. But those metrics may or may not be right for, who you are, the role that you have in the organization. And I think it's this really important conversation to understand what are the metrics that are important to our organization, to our executive team, and how do we really begin to tie our inputs, if you will, to those particular outcomes so that we can have much richer conversations and be a part of the organization that shows up with metrics that matter. And I love the way that the article ends with some recommendations, like don't just show up with the metrics, but show up with solutions as well, right? Be able to really help your executive team think things through and provide paths that we could take versus here's just a problem and we don't really know what to do about it. Now you solve it. I think, Carol, to your point, there's lots of other things that our CEOs and our executive teams are trying to solve. We need to figure out how do we show up and be helpful versus just, kind of showing up, right?
You bet.
So here we are today, right? And so the fence post that we want to plant is exactly kind of this, that we can do that today in the leadership development space. It's a new day. We can be better. We can show up differently with meaningful leadership analytics and that value piece. Think real solutions for that help our executive teams, our CEOs, our senior leaders take action that really help them to narrow in on what's going on, what's the impact, and what should we do about it.